Welcome back. In this video, I'll be showing you how you can design a fashion design flyer on PixelLab. If you are new here, consider subscribing for more design tips and inspiration. Don't forget to hit the like button and leave a comment below. And to my returning viewers, thank you so much for your continued support. Okay, so now let's get started. Okay, so this is PixelLab, and the first thing we'll be doing is to delete the default text. And the next thing we have to do is to change the image size of this particular design. But for the course of this video, I will be leaving it the way it is. Okay, so after that we'll be introducing a background to this particular design. So we'll be selecting a background from my gallery, and I'll just scroll down to select a background, and I'll be making use of this particular background for this design. Okay, so once we've introduced the background, the next thing I'll be doing now is to go over to shape. We'll be adding a shape to this particular design. Okay, and once we've added the shape, we'll just go ahead to increase it like this, and we'll be reducing the downside. Okay, and we'll be taking the shape downwards like this. Okay, we'll go ahead to extend this, and we'll just be placing it around this plate. We'll be placing it here. Okay, so once we've introduced this shape, we'll go to layers and we'll be locking this particular shape. Okay, so the next thing we'll be doing is to import our image. Okay, and we'll go over to import to select the images we'll be using for this design. Okay, so now we've imported the images we'll be using for this particular design. We'll go over to layers and we'll be turning off the visibility of the first two. Okay, and we'll be working with this one for now. We'll be working with this one. Okay, so for this image, we'll go over to crop. And we'll be changing the direction to the left side, as you can see. Okay, and we'll just go ahead to increase the image a little bit, and we'll be placing this here. Okay, so once we've done this, we'll go to layers again, and we'll be locking this particular image. Okay, and we'll be turning on the visibility of this one. Okay, so for this one, we'll be placing it down here in this place, and we'll go over to layers again to lock it, and we'll be turning on the visibility of this other one. Okay, and we'll go ahead to just increase it a little bit, and we'll be placing this here. And we'll be sending this to back, exactly like this. Be sending it to back. Okay, let's introduce the grid line to see. Okay, so we have to readjust the other images because I don't want the images to exceed this particular grid line. So we'll go over to layers, we'll select the image we want to adjust, and we'll go over to position, and we'll be taking this down a little bit. Okay, and we'll be moving it to the left. Okay, we'll go over to layers again, we'll select this brown one, and we'll be using the position tool to just adjust this, and we'll be adjusting the last image, that of the yellow, and we'll just be using the position tool to just adjust this a little bit here, and this is okay. So once we've done that, we'll go over to layers and we'll be locking everything, as you can see here. Okay, so now we've arranged our image how we want it to be. The next thing we'll be doing now, we'll be introducing a shape. We'll be introducing square shape, and we'll be making use of three shapes of the same size, and we'll be texturing the image, our images, into the shapes. Okay, so once we've introduced the shape like this, okay, let's just place it down to see if the size is okay. Just increase it a little bit. Okay, so once we've introduced and reduce the size of the shape, and we'll just go over to copy this twice. Okay, I'll have to delete one, and we have three here. Okay, so for the first one, we'll go over to texture, and we'll be selecting the image. Okay, so for the first one, I'll be texturing this image into it. I'll just select 1:1, exactly like this, and I'll be adding it. Okay, so for the second one, we'll go over to texture again to select an image, and I'll make use of this image. I'll select 1:1 also to just select this part, and I'll be adding this. And for the last one, we'll go over to texture to select another image, and we'll be making use of this image. We just select 1:1 to capture this. Okay, so once we've done this, we'll be adding a stroke to all the images. We'll just enable the stroke. Automatically it will be white, and we'll be leaving the stroke width as 2. Okay, we'll do same for this other one. We'll go over to stroke, enable, and we'll be doing the same for the last one. We'll go over to stroke and we'll enable. Okay, so once we've done this, we'll be using the position tool to take this down. And we'll be doing same for this one. You just have to take everything down until they are aligned. Okay, and we'll be doing same for this one. Okay, so after doing that, to enable the grid line, and we'll be adjusting the grid line to ensure that the designs or the shapes are aligned. Okay, as you can see, we have to adjust this one, and we'll be taking it up a little bit for it to become aligned, and this is okay. And we'll turn off the grid lines, and we'll go over to layers, and we'll be locking the 3 images, the 3 square. Okay, and we'll be selecting the 3 square, and we'll just use the position tool to take them down. We'll be taking it down a little bit like this. Okay, so once we've done that, the next thing we'll be doing now is to add the service of this fashion designer. So we'll go over to shape, we'll enable shape, we'll just increase the radius a little bit, and we'll be placing this here. We'll be placing it here, and we'll just reduce the size of this, and also just reduce here a little bit and place it somewhere here. And we'll click on good. Okay, so once we've added this image, the next thing we'll be going to opacity, and we'll be reducing the opacity of this shape to, okay, let's say 14. Let's see how 14 is. Okay, this is okay, and we'll just be using our position tool to just adjust this a little bit. Okay, so once we've done this, the next thing we'll be doing now is to be adding a text to this. So we'll just go over to edit, and I'll quickly add the text. Okay, and we'll go ahead to relative size. We'll go over to size, and we'll be reducing the size of this text. Okay, and we'll be making use of our position tool to just take this downwards. We'll take this downward, and we can go ahead to increase the size a little bit and use the position tool to adjust it here. Okay, so once this is done, we'll go over to layers, and we'll be locking the layers. Okay, and the next thing we'll be doing, we'll just go over to import, and we'll be importing a button or a ribbon. Then we'll go over to locate the image we want to add. Okay, so this is the image I want to work with, and I'll just reduce this a little bit. I'll reduce this, and I'll be placing it here. Okay, and I'll be writing something like best quality inside this image. Okay, but I will be changing the color to black. So we'll go over to color filters, and we'll be reducing the saturation, and I will just increase the hue exactly like this. Okay, and we'll just go ahead to reduce it a little bit and use the position tool to adjust it here. Okay, so once that is done, we'll go over to our letters to add a letter, and we'll just be typing best quality. Okay, so once this is done, we'll go over to font. We'll be changing the font of this particular text. Okay, and we'll be making use of this font here, and we'll just click on OK. Then we'll go over to align, and we'll be selecting this middle alignment, and we'll go over to line spacing to reduce the spacing. Okay, so we'll be taking this down a little bit, and we'll be making use of size. We'll be reducing the size of this to, let's leave it as 20, and we'll be using our position tool to fit this in at the center. Let's say it is okay. This is okay, and after that, okay, let's just increase this a little bit. Let's see. Okay, 21 should be okay, and we'll be using the position to adjust it like this, and we'll go over to layers to be locking the layers here. Okay, so we are gradually getting to the finish though. So for this upper part, we'll just be typing in the name of the brand, like the brand name. Okay, and we'll go over to text and we'll just be typing in, okay, I'm making use of my name here. Okay, and we'll go over to fonts to change the font of this particular. We'll be changing the font of this text and we'll be selecting this font here. Okay, so once we've done that, we'll go over to color. We'll be adding a color to this. We'll go over to color and we'll go over to gradient and we'll be making use of this gradient color. Okay, so I'll be showing you the gradient color. So for the first one, this is the color. This is the gradient color. You can go ahead to copy it. And for the second one, this is the color also. Okay, and this is the gradient color we'll be working with. And we'll just go ahead to increase this a little bit and we'll be using the position tool to place this here. Okay, if it looks too big, you can use your size, you can reduce the size. Okay, we'll be leaving the size as 107 and we'll be increasing the letter spacing by 2. Okay, this is okay. And now we'll just add something like toning scissors or something like that, and we'll be adjusting, we'll just be typing it here. Okay, so for this one, we'll go over to font, and we'll be selecting a semi-bold font, this exact font here. Okay, and we'll go ahead to reduce the size a little bit. We'll be reducing the size and we'll be using the position tool to just try and adjust it at the center of this. Okay, we'll be locking this tonics test. Then for this scissors, we'll be adding a background to it. So we enable background and we'll be leaving the background as this black. So the background is already as black, is a black background we added. And we'll go over to the background again and we'll be increasing the left padding and right padding by 1. And after that, we'll go over to the shape tool and we'll bring our shape here and we'll just reduce the shape exactly like this and we'll be reducing it until we get this. Okay, so once we click on go, we'll still reduce it a little bit and we'll be using our position tool to just adjust this and we'll be taking this to back, we'll be sending it to back until we have this. Okay, then we'll have to adjust the position of the scissors text. Okay, and we'll go over to layers and we'll be selecting the two and we'll be taking them down a little bit. Okay, so once that is done, we'll just go ahead to lock this. Okay, and we'll go over to text again. We'll be adding a text okay, and we'll be adding a background to this also. So we'll go over to background and we'll enable a background and we'll be making use of this particular color. Okay, so this is the hex code of the color in case you want to also make use of it. And we'll go over to font. We'll head over to font to select a bold font for this text. And we'll be making use of this. We'll be making use of this Nexa heavy. And we'll just go over to size. We'll be reducing the size of this to 20 and we'll be using the position tool to adjust this here. Okay. So we'll be increasing the padding also. We'll go over to the background, and we'll be increasing the left and right padding to 3, exactly like this, and this is good. Okay, so at this part of this design, we'll just be adding a slim text that says affordable and reliable. Okay, we'll do that quickly. And we'll be changing the font of this text to a very light font and we'll be making use of this railway lights. And we'll go over to size. We'll be reducing the size to like this and we'll be placing it here and we'll be placing this here and we'll be increasing the line spacing, increasing the letter spacing rather of this text to, let's leave it at 16, and we'll be using the position tool to just adjust it here. Okay, so we are done for the body. We are done with the body of this design. So the next thing we'll be doing now is just be adding the contact info at this white side of the design. So I'll quickly do that. Okay, so now we've added the icons of our contact info. We'll just go ahead to reduce the size. We'll reduce the size of all of them one by one, and we'll be placing them at this white side of the design. We'll just be placing them here, and we'll go over to size again, relative size, to reduce this, and we'll be introducing our grid line to set a guide, and we'll just be adjusting it here. Okay, and for this one also, we'll go ahead to reduce the size. We'll go over to relative size, and we'll be reducing it to 9, and we'll be using the relative position tool to center it downwards, and we'll use our position tool to move it. Okay, so we'll be increasing this a little bit. Okay, and lastly for this one, just go ahead to reduce it. You can either reduce this with your hand, or you can use the relative size to reduce this. So we'll be adjusting this here, and we'll be doing same for this one also. Okay, so for this down one, we'll just be increasing the size by 1, and we'll be adjusting this until all of them are aligned. And we'll go ahead to also reduce the size of this a little bit, and we'll be adjusting this also. Okay, so once we've adjusted it, we'll just add the text, and I'll be doing that now. Okay, and this is it. So this is how to design a fashion design flyer on PixelLab. If you gained value from this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell.